Suraya. This is the 11th month. And לרפואת הדסה בת רות, מרים בת פרנג, and תהילה הלנה בת הדסה. תהילה, הדסה, בת הלנה? הלנה. And לעילוי נשמת יפה רחל בת, how can it be יפה רחל בת יפה? No, לעילוי נשמת רחל בת יפה. אוקיי, לעילוי נשמת משה ישראל בן יוסף אריה, להצלחת שרה בת שינה, לרפואה ראובן בן אברהם, אנדינה בת אברהם, שושנה בת מזל, לעילוי נשמת פואד אפרים בן ניסים, for שרונה בת מזל, ששותפה עם זיווג במהרה, עם רפואה שלמה, נעמי בת מזל, דיוויד בן מזל, for שידוך. also רפואת שרה פרומת בת הנדל מרים, רפואה שלמה, she should have בעזרת השם. and also טוב, I think I covered everything. טוב. Baruch Hashem, we'll start with good news. The number of people in Israel that have corona is the lowest it's been. It's ממש close to zero almost. Less than 200 people in the hospitals in bad condition. It was ממש 6-7 times more on a daily basis. Now, Baruch Hashem is dying out. 151 bureaus in Israel do not have one corona patient. Courtesy of Pfizer. First Hashem, then Pfizer and Moderna and the rest of the vaccines. Like they say, על אפם ועל חמתם של המתנגדים לחיסונים. If we would listen to them, we will all be dead by now. If, and you know what? You know, I'm not such a huge fan of Benjamin Netanyahu. I think that he's the best option out of all the other people around him. It's a bunch of clowns, at least one normal that knows how to be a politician. But, as usual, make also mistakes. But one thing, he deserves, if there was such a thing, Nobel Prize winner of Israel. If it was up to me, I would name in every street in Israel a street after him. And half of the schools. Why? What he has done is the biggest achievement in the last 100 years in the world of any politician. Convincing the president of Pfizer to give Israel millions of vaccine before United States and all Europe and China, where they can make a lot more money and sell billions of vaccines on a weekly basis to the rest of the world, to convince him to give to a country that has few million citizens, calling him 30 times, waking him up in the middle of the night like a leech, and playing on his Judaism, because that's a Greek Jew. He came from, I think his parents were in the Holocaust in Greece. They had the Holocaust by the Sephardic Jews there. So he survived, I think, and came to America, became the president of Pfizer, which is a company worth many billions of dollars. And he convinced him, based on the fact that you should have empathy to your brothers, the Jewish people in Israel, even though he's not a religious person. Netanyahu, with his power of speech, and of course, above everything, it's all Hashem's decision. Don't get the wrong impression here. It was 100% Hashem's decision. But when Hashem used someone as a messenger, and the messenger achieved his goal, he deserves a credit. Even if you're not a big fan of him. You gotta be honest. Politics blinds people. They hate someone like they hated Trump. They did not give him one compliment in 4 years. This rotten, wicked media. Now, one thing was good for them. Why? Because they hated the men. That's not fair. That's not fair. The people are corrupted. So I said, his achievement, bringing already more than 5 million people in Israel got this vaccine, and saving Israel from having 50,000 deaths should have been by now. It's stuck at 6,300 already for a month. Stuck in the same number. 2 months people get vaccines in Israel, 2.5 months. In 2 months, it reduced the number of dead almost to zero. If it would continue the way it was, 100 people a day, it would grow more than 200, 300, like Brazil, 4,000 a day. You can't control it. Once you lose control, it can be thousands of people a day. We would have now tens of thousands of funerals, God forbid. Israel is not a place that can handle tens of thousands of funerals. It's not Brazil. Brazil, 4,000 people die. The country continues as usual almost. Same thing in Europe. This is a massive country. They have tens of millions of people. Okay, it's a few 100,000 will die. In America, almost 600,000 people die. Do you see America collapsing because of that? You know what it is? 600,000 people almost. Compared to 400 million people that live here, they can take it. In a country of only a few million Jews, if you had 50,000 there, that's a Holocaust. Holocaust doesn't have to be millions, it could be thousands. Just to give you an idea, proportion. Israel now will become 73 years old in 2 days. The Independence Day is coming. Yom HaAtzmaut, the Independence Day. The Satmar call it Yom HaAtzamot. It's similar to Atzmaut, they changed it. Atzamot means bones. Somebody told me Yom HaAtzbanut. It all sounds the same. Why? Anti-Zionist people, they hate this day. It's very interesting how I laugh. In Monsey, you have one Satmar shul and one modern Orthodox Zionist shul with Israeli flags and very pro-Israel, Zionist, religious Zionist. And Satmar hates Zionists more than they hate anyone you can think of. And they both on the same street with 2 miles difference between them. So when you start going down the hill, you see the Zionists with flags, dancing. You go another mile down the road, Satmar ripped their clothes, burning the flag. It's interesting, the ideology of people can be so far away from each other. Unbelievable. Anyway, so imagine, God forbid, such a horrible thing would happen in a country with, just to give you an idea, Israel is 73 years old. Since Israel started, when we came to Israel and revived the state and all that, 24,000 soldiers died, minus 90. About 90 less. 23,015, something like this. No, 23,915. Meaning, from last year until now, 46 soldiers died. Some committed suicide because of Corona. Some committed suicide because they were abused by their generals. Some died from drugs. Some died in fighting with the Hamas. Some died in training, in car accidents. Soldiers. All together in 73 years, 24,000. The Corona without the vaccine now would be double in 1 year. Would be double. That's why we have to thank Hashem for giving us this miracle that we were able to get those vaccines and basically stop the death. That's it. Baruch Hashem, almost nobody dies now. They did not stop to die from the air. The air did not change, right? They did not find the right vitamin. What stopped people from dying is the vaccines. We have to face it. That's the truth. As much as you hate to hear it, all the anti-vaccine people, which some of them have huge ego, they'll never ever admit that they were wrong. One more thing I'll tell you. One more thing is the few people that do die, all of them are people that refuse to get the vaccine. All of them. that they begged them to take and they refused. And some of them were young. That's who died in the last month. I saw a whole article about this one died here, refused to get the vaccine. This woman died with her baby, refused to get the vaccine. Nobody from the people that got vaccine died. Nobody. Do you understand what an achievement this means? The companies say they have 95% success. It's true. From every 100 people that got it, 5 of them can still get corona. But even they get the corona, it's very weak. Because after all, they have antibody. So it saved a lot of people, Baruch Hashem. So Hashem made us this miracle. Look, you have to see blind, not to see the miracle of Hashem here. If Pfizer will do it the way business world required, Israel should have been the last in the list. They would give it first to United States, which is 400 million people, and then to Europe, which is few hundred million people altogether all over Europe, and then to all the rich Arab countries, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, the entire Emirates, all these. It will already be 2-3 billion people that would have to get it logically before Israel. That means we'll have to wait 2 more years. And by then, who knows how many deaths we would have. But you know what? Death is one tragedy. There's another tragedy, financial. We are now in more than 200 billion shekel deficit. 200 billion shekel deficit. How many years is it going to take to bring back to the balance we had about 1.5 years ago? Who knows how many? Only Hashem knows. Another year like that, we would become a bankrupt country. What happened when the government go bankrupt? Everybody kill each other on the street. Riots. People kill for food. People go into houses with guns and give me to eat, if not I'll kill you. Give me your diamonds, there's nothing to lose. Decent people. Chaos. That's what happened when it is. You have a lot of money in account, ATM, sorry, only $500 per month limit. Well, I can't take money until government seized all money. Well, they have to function. Otherwise, everyone would die. It's an emergency state. That's what would happen. No joke about it. This would happen without those vaccines. So you have to know, you have to appreciate. And I'm saying, Netanyahu made a lot of stupid mistakes. He also did a lot of good things. There's nobody that play in the dirty politics and do not make mistakes. There's no such thing. They do good things, they do bad things. He did some great things, he did some very stupid things. But, what he have done with the vaccine should put him in the history books of Jewish leaders. And again, according to the Torah, is 100% wicked. He cannot be a part of the minyan. If he would come here, I would stand for him, for saving thousands of lives every month in Israel. Someone that saves so many thousands of lives deserves appreciation. But if we had to count him tonight in the minyan, he would not be one of the minyan, because it's Mechalel Shabbat. Mechalel Shabbat, when he dies, he has no share to the world to come. We spoke about it hundreds of times. No matter how great of a politician he is, even if he's the king of Israel, doesn't matter. Yeah, what he deserves appreciation, he deserves. We have to appreciate what he has done. If it would be one of the lefty idiots that fighting against him now every day, we would never get the vaccine in 700 years from now. It would take 700 years to get maybe one shot. They would send you maybe with FedEx. You know, that's what would happen. But he realized the danger that Israel is in. He started to call Pfizer to his cell phone at 2 a.m. Do you know another prime minister that would dare to do such thing, to call a multi-billionaire tycoon businessman who basically control even United States politician, because they give all the money to the senators, such a powerful person, calling him in the middle of the night, waking him up, say, Bibi, it's 2 a.m. Say, yes, we're talking life and death here, no time to sleep. And in the end, he convinced him to give. Thank Hashem for giving him. His Jewish heart woke up, I guess, from those conversations. And he, Baruch Hashem, agreed to give Israel the vaccines before the United States. They go crazy here. They went crazy here. what's going on. He got a lot of criticism for that. Why are you giving Israel? Why? Pfizer, it's an American company. Why are you giving a stranger vaccines when so many people in America are dying? It attracts a lot of fire. But he, Baruch Hashem, did it. So, I don't know if you're listening a little bit to the news, but since today it's the last lecture, tomorrow I fly Bezrat Hashem to Israel, Im Yirtzeh Hashem. The good news is that we're going to still put every week 2 lectures, new lectures. I put about 7 or 8 lectures on the site that we never posted. Remember, I told you there's too many lectures. So now it's the time to post them 2 per week. It's a lecture we never posted online. So you will have what to watch until I return, Bezrat Hashem. Israel escalating the war with Iran. They realize the Democrats are pro-Iran. They're anti-Israel, like Hussein Obama. We're back to the days of Hussein Obama.
He's still in control.
So, yeah, he's in control, obviously. So he does everything on purpose against Israel. That's what he did when he was the president. That's what he's doing now. He wrote it in his book. He's not even hiding it. So he actually admitted. He never dreamed that he will be back in power. Now he has to deal with the statements he wrote in his book against Israel and against Netanyahu. Because now we know the truth. He cannot pretend that he's a pro-Israel president. So he's putting now in charge of the deal with Iran a very anti-Israel anti-Semite that hates Israel, and everything he have done, he fought Israel in Congress always. Mamash, like one of those Arabs anti-Semite, that's what he is. And he is in charge to give Iran back their power, to remove the sanction. That's what's going on. The Israeli understand, that's it. It's inevitable. We're going to go into a war with Iran. There's a midrash about it, that Iran will attack Saudi Arabia, and that's how the final war will start. Now you see, it's very logical. Saudis are shaking from them. Saudi made an agreement with Israel. They're working now together with the Emirates. Very, very possible that there will be a war this year. Very possible. And Israel are attacking Iran on a daily basis, every day. In Syria, they're bombing them every week. They bomb a huge boat now, caused them a huge damage on that boat 2 or 3 days ago. And today they attack the nuclear place in what's the name of it? Natanz, one of the nuclear places in Iran, with cyber attack. They created fire in a place. I don't know if the Israeli have such ability through cyber to go into a nuclear facility that has probably the best security you can get in the world. They have all Russian scientists build it for them. They actually protect the place. It's not fools. The Israelis again and again and again penetrating all kinds of computers in Iran, either electric and nuclear, and they make them all kinds of accidents and fire and eliminate their scientists, and they can't retaliate, Iran. And they have the power. But Hashem is Mama saving us from them. They can't really retaliate. They try to bring down the electric, they blackmail Israeli companies, they steal information. But the damage is more like shame and financial, not really serious damage. But you know how it is. When you give a punch to a person and he does not respond, you give him another one and another one and another one, when he will respond, is with full anger. Who knows what can happen? All of a sudden, chas v'shalom, you hear they're going to bomb some embassy or something with hundreds of bombs. It's going to be who knows how many deaths, and that's going to create a massive war, and that will be the end of everything. That's what it looks like. It's going to that direction. Why? Because Israel can never live with knowing that Iran will have a nuclear bomb. Why is it? Do you really think that Iran will ever dare to throw a nuclear bomb on Israel? The chance is very, very small. Why? First of all, Israel have 2-3 million Arabs that they scream so much about. Palestinians, they have to wipe them out as well. That's one thing. Not that they care about them, really. If it's collateral damage, they'll do it. The other problem is the masks. They have historical masks. They're going to go and say, what, you're going to wipe out Al-Aqsa and El-Omar and all the other masks? This is historical things, Muhammad and this and that. Tough. I can still think of them saying, we'll sacrifice it for the goal. But there's one other thing that they know. That Israel has 200 nuclear bombs that they know of. This is from 25 years ago from Vanunu, the trader, that worked in a nuclear facility and told the world how many bombs Israel have. That was 25 years ago. Could be now it's 500. Not 200. 500 or 1,000 bombs. It's enough to wipe out the whole world. But some of these bombs are in submarines. Bibi got from the Germans, I think, 7 nuclear submarines. Why Israel needs 7 nuclear submarines? Each submarine can shoot missile with nuclear bomb to every country in the world and wipe them out. Why do you need submarine with nuclear bombs and missiles? In case they attack your country and they get you out of function. You're not going to be able to do anything. You don't have electric, nothing. It's a chaos. There's always hundreds of soldiers under the water next to every country that can retaliate within minutes and wipe them out. The Iranians know it. They have 70 million people. They will shoot a nuclear on Israel. Even Chas v'Shalom, they wipe out Israel. Israel is capable of wiping them up in 2 minutes, not leaving one of them alive. Include these lousy Ayatollahs, devils. And they're never going to sacrifice their life. They will sacrifice their people, but they won't die for the goal. Just like the Nazis. As much as they hated the Jews, they would not donate one arm. If you tell one of the Nazis, okay, you can kill 1,000 Jews today in Auschwitz, and one condition, sacrifice your arm. Sacrifice your finger. We'll chop off one of your fingers. You give one finger, you can kill 1,000 Jews. Would he agree? Never. The only one that are willing to sacrifice themselves and their entire family to break a hand of a Jew, forget to kill him, just to break his arm, is the Arabs. The Arabs are willing to die, him and his entire family, to kill one Jew. They know that that's what's going to come out of it. They know the family will suffer, they destroy their home, all kinds of problems. They're willing to do it. To kill one Jew, to go in a bus stop, hit him. Jew standing in a bus stop, hit him with a car. You know, it's the end of his life. You know, everything, doesn't care. Why? That's how much hatred. The Nazi would not hit a Jew with a car knowing he's going to die. As much as he hated him. I hate him, but I don't want to die. I love myself. They are the only, this is, by the way, a prophecy in Tehillim, in Psalms. David HaMelech say that the last enemy will be like the bees. The Galut Ishmael, the Arabs, Ishmael is like the bees. What's special about the bees? The bees sting you and die with you. In other words, if you got it and you will have the pain, or if you're allergic for it, Chas v'Shalom, that you see a minute later, the bee is dead. The bee will attack you, knowing it's going to die, but that's it. That's the only nation that are willing to do such thing. To kill themselves for minor murder. For one killing, for 2, for 5. They're willing to sacrifice dozens. Why? The hate clogged the mind of the people. As long as I release my hate, you know, I had a very interesting discussion in my house in Shabbat from the guest. The guests that were by my house are 2 Democrats, husband and wife. What we call in America libs. But the nice kind, not the evil kind. There's 2 kinds of libs. No, there is some nice ones that they really innocently live in a la-la land, the land of the dreams. You know this kind of libs? Okay, it's not the evil one that no matter what, they try to destroy everything with their radical lefty ideology. Those are innocent libs that they grew up communist, and they believe that that's the right social environment that we should live in. So the subject was racism. Racism. Who can define to me correctly? The world is defining it incorrectly. Who can define for me correctly what racism means? What's racism?
Thinking your race is better than someone else's.
So you hate someone because of his race. Meaning, you see black people, you don't like them because they are from Africa or because the color of the skin, or now they hate Asians because of the coronavirus. I hear they attack a lot of Asians in America. There's more attacks than ever against Chinese and against Oriental in general because some people do not know to tell the difference between Chinese, Japanese, or Thailandi. It's a little bit hard for Americans to know. So they attack all kinds of Asians. I hear there's a lot of attacks. I don't listen to the news, but someone told me that there's a lot of attacks now. I ask why? What the Chinese has to do with Americans and now they're attacking them? The answer, blame them for Corona. There's a lot of bitter people here. Millions of people lost their job, lost all their saving, lost relatives. They're full of anger and frustration and emptiness and depression, and they want to find someone to take their anger out on. Usually it was always the Jews. The Jews. Como, Hashem prepare for Como something extra special, don't worry. You don't want to give him such an easy end. So usually, whenever the Goyim were in madness or in anger or frustration or disappointment or depression or anything like that, who would pay the price? The Jews. Check out history. The Jews of that country. Now, for whatever reason, they have more anger to the Asians than they have anger to the Jews, because the anger that they have to the Jews is always the same anger. No matter what they're going to do, there's going to always be anger. But now it's specific anger because of the corona. Logically, what is a Chinese guy who lives in Manhattan 20 years has to do with corona? Let's say it was a lab error, that they made a mistake in a lab in Wuhan, and because of that we're suffering already for 15 months of so many tragedies and problems and headache and suffering because of the Chinese lab somewhere in China. Let's say it's true. If this story is really true, what does it have to do with the Filipinos, with Thailandi, with Chinese that lives in America, Japanese? What does it have to do with them? Do you see one tiny connection between this and that? Same thing if a Hasid walk without a mask in the area of Goyim and they got angry, now they want to kill all Hasidim. What's the connection? Because one Hasid did something against the law, and there's 1,000 who walks with mask, you want to kill all of them because of him? It makes sense? Doesn't make sense. General punishments is nothing new. A teacher punished the whole class for one kid who broke the glass and he refused to confess. Why is it different than the teacher? The teacher say you have until 2 p.m. to tell me who broke the glass. If you don't tell me, all of you will be punished by this and this and that. Put pressure on him that one will come forward and tell him. And if nobody say anything, everybody will pay for something they did not commit. So the question is, how do you define racism? The people that now attacking Asians, they hate them because they are Asians? No. If they would be European, let's say, French, they would also hate them. If the corona would come from France, they would hate French. If the corona would come from Scandinavia, they will hate the Swedish and all the other ones. So it's not because they're Asian. So it's not racism. It's just pure stupidity. It's nothing to do with race. They never had anything against Asians. If it would come from Africa, from someone in Nigeria, so they would hate all black people now. It's not because they're black, because they think they brought to us the corona. It's pure stupidity. Happen to be black, happen to be Chinese, happen to be Hasidic. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's not racism. That's just pure stupidity. You're just a stupid person. You hate innocent people that have no connection to the crime. You understand so far? Okay. Profiling specific people or specific cities or specific neighborhoods. Is this racism or no? You go by the zip code. These people from this zip code check their suitcases every time they come on a plane. From this zip code, do not check. You can check 1 out of 100 random, that's it. Insurance company. If you live in specific zip code, you're going to pay $6,000 a year on your lousy car. If you live in that zip code, you're going to pay $1,200. A fifth. Is this racism? Profiling. Is profiling racism? For instance, you have a crime neighborhood somewhere in New York. Let's say, happen to be a black neighborhood or an Arab neighborhood. There's a lot of crime, shooting, these, bombs, whatever. The insurance company know they lost in this neighborhood 10 times more than they lost in Monsey. It's quiet. Nobody robs anything. Nobody shoots there. It's a quiet area. It's very safe, Baruch Hashem. So in Monsey, they will charge you X amount on a car. And in that dangerous area, in Brooklyn, Manhattan, whatever it is, they're going to charge you 3 times more. Is this racism? Absolutely not. It's nothing to do with racism. The people that make that decision in an insurance company could be black people, could be Arabs, could be people that actually, they go by business plan. Where do we make money? Where we lose money? It happened to be that this specific neighborhood happened to be black. It could have been white people that have more crime. It could have been Arab that have more crime. It could have been Europeans that over here there's a lot of, fighting between them in gangs. It could be many different kind of people. Going after this specific area or the kind of people that live there or the kind of immigrants that live there doesn't mean that I have any prejudice opinion against these people. I just go based on the statistic. If the statistics show that in one city, 1 out of 10 citizens is a thief, insurance there will cost few times more than in other place. And if there is a different city and over there's no robberies, why should we charge so much? There's no losses. Profiling, is this racism? Also not. Today in America, every time you profile someone, immediately racist, that is a racist. People do not know what race is. Racism means you hate someone because of the color of his skin, because of the country he was born, because of religion. That's because in general, you hate this whole nation. Why? For one specific reason. That's racism. Nothing to do when they good, when they bad. You hate them when they good, you hate them when they bad. You hate them when they're quiet, you hate them when they make noise, you hate them when they rich, you hate them when they poor. Jews are the best example for that. Anti-Semitism is all over the world. Half of the people in the world hate Jews. Regardless of what the Jews will do. They help science, they hate them. They help business, they hate them. They hurt business, they hate them. They travel from one place to another with no place to live, they hate them. They have their own state, they hate them. When they're extra brilliant and contribute to the world more than anybody else, they hate them. When there is a period of time that they will not contribute to the world, even though it never happened, but assuming, they will also hate them. When the Jews will be extremely rich, they hate them. When they were extremely poor, they hate them. That's racism. It's nothing to do with profiling or what the Jews will do or will not do. That's called pure racism. Do not mix profiling and saying that in specific, like Donald Trump. He said, I put 7 Arab countries in a blacklist. I don't want any tourists from these countries. Why? It's countries that have high amount of terrorists, based on our knowledge, CIA, FBI. They export a lot of murderers to the world, these countries. I want to minimize the risk to the people of my country. So I'm willing to lose the tourists and their money, because a lot of them are innocent tourists who wants to come spend money in America, which is good for our economy. I'm willing to take the loss, and I don't want anybody from this country to come for X amount of time. That's racism? Absolutely not. If you would say all the Arab countries in the world cannot come, that could be racism. But if you say from this country they can come, from this country they can come, from this Arab country they cannot come, what kind of racism is that? If you're racist, you hate all Arabs. Why would you let one country like Egypt, they can come, Saudi Arabia can come, and Bahrain can come, and Abu Dhabi and Dubai, but Iraq or other dangerous countries, they cannot come. Why? We have record. We have record where is a higher danger. Based on the history with this country, Sudan, very dangerous country. All the terror camps are there. They train so many people, so many terrorists, very dangerous people with dangerous ideology. You let them into the country, they come as tourists. You're gonna make yourself Al-Qaeda and ISIS in every town in America after 10, 20 years. It's very dangerous. Comes the Democrats on purpose. Oh, Trump did that, he's a racist. We open the borders, everyone is welcome, Sudan, Iraq, Iran, everyone. Every fanatic lunatic, everyone that's right in the internet that is pro-murder of innocent people is welcome to come, welcome to become a citizen, and inviting the next September 11. What caused September 11 here in America? 15 Saudi students who came to America on a student visa, visitors. Nobody checked them, nobody checked who they are, nobody checked their agenda, nobody checked their page to see what they believe in, Al-Qaeda. Free. And then they go and they learn how to fly, and they don't learn how to land. And nobody saw that something here is fishy. Why? They're afraid to be called racist. If the owner of the flying school will call the media or the FBI and say something is very dangerous happening in my school, 15 Arabs are learning to fly, but they don't want to come to learn how to land. What they would say? Racist, shame on you. You have anything against Arabs? No, I happen to be married to an Arab. That's not the issue. The issue here is something is dangerous now. Happen to be Arabs, it could be Chinese, it could be Japanese, who knows? But right now, that's what we have. But everyone is afraid to open their mouth. Someone told me now they're going to start changing signs in New York now. Some of the signs, they consider them racism. What kind of signs they're talking about? Huh?
What about the books?
Oh my gosh. That's the problem, Rabotai. It seems like that now everyone hates everyone. For no reasons whatsoever.
Yeah.
I don't remember the world has so much hatred like now. Courtesy of social media. What took Hitler years to do, if he would do now in a time of Facebook and all this social media, it would take him hours to brainwash his people. It goes to billions of people. You pay some money and Facebook will spread everything you want. For instance, if you will speak against abomination parade, Facebook will shut your page. Why? They like abomination. They like gay marriage. They like Sodom and Gomorrah. So they're very sensitive. If someone has something against them, immediately they block your mouth and your keyboard. But the most radical Muslim terror organization have free thousands of Facebook pages which they call over there clearly to murder innocent people in all over the world, and they do not shut one of their pages. Freedom of speech. Why I don't have a freedom to say that I hate abomination and I hate people that live against the laws of nature? Why it's not freedom of speech? Because that's racism. But to say kill all Jews, that's not racism. And who on Facebook? A Jew. Who owns all the other media? Most of them Jews. Sometimes it looks to me that they enjoy to promote hatred against their own people. Like Bernie Sanders. Did you ever see someone who hates Jews more than him? Even the libs that were by my house, they said, we can't stand it. It's totally crazy. Why? He even hates Israel. They already understand that there is a red line here. That some of these libs already went too far to the other side. Here you go. This is a little bit preview about racism. Please do not make mistake with profiling based on statistic and with something that called racism. Now, I want to tell you, today they announced a raise of 24% of Israelis that will not be admitted into the army based on psychological and psychiatric evaluation. A raise, an increase of 24% among mental cases. 18 years old kids that lose their mind, have all kinds of problems, manic depression, schizophrenia, panic attacks, trauma, all kinds of things from what they watch on the internet and all kinds of other things that they did in their life, that the psychiatric evaluation of the Israeli army wrote in their file, they cannot be drafted to the army. The army doesn't want them for psychiatric reasons. Some soldiers say, I don't want to be in the army. Put me in jail, kill me, I don't care. I'm not going to be a soldier. You try. In the end, the army give up. Okay, you can go home. You're not going to be in the army. You lose your rights as a citizen. And everybody in Israel will know you did not go to the army. That's not a good thing for your record. But some soldiers are dismissed for medical reason. Cancer, other medical reason. But now we are talking people that lost their mind, meaning they're not normal. They're dangerous. The army is afraid of them, that they'll kill someone, they may shoot at people, they do all kinds of crazy things. They're not normal. 24% increase. We are talking tens of thousands of soldiers per year that are mental, that will never be married, that will never contribute to society, and there are potential bomb in our neighborhood. 24% increase in 1 year. Courtesy of Corona. That also has to do a lot with that. Depression. In case you're not convinced, today, 26 years old soldier came in front of the social office and lit himself on fire, burned himself. His entire body went on fire. Why? The army refused to give him a status of a post-trauma soldier. After Milchemet Tzuk Eitan, he became, obsolete. He cannot function in his life. They gave him very low percentage of, like being a handicap, disability. Very low. The lower it is, the less money they give you to support you. But what happens if you're not functioning, you're in deep depression, you live in fear, you scream at night? This is soldiers that went to the war to protect us, to protect our families, our country. And they went to a horrible experience. Bombs fell on them, they saw people were murdered next to them, their best friends, all kinds of things like that. Or they had to shoot someone and it got them into a big trauma. After all, it's 18, 19 years kids. When they go to fight in Gaza, in the worst place on earth, with these cruel Hamas terrorists, sometimes they catch them and they torture them until they release them. Even 1 week in prison, you know what they do to you over there? They're so cruel, these monsters. So they refused to increase his disability pension. He went with fire, burned himself. So what does it show you? That they do not evaluate correctly how many people are mentally sick. There's a lot more than what they say. They admit 24% increase. There's a lot more. Because if a guy like this that told them, I'm going to burn myself, I'm going to kill myself, or I'm going to blow up a place, and they disregard him and they didn't care, and they say, go, we don't approve your application. And they didn't look at him as a potential mental case or anything like that. They just show you that they're not doing their job correctly. All of a sudden, all the politicians woke up today. We have to do something for veterans, for people that suffer from post-trauma. Where have you been until now? By the way, in America, it's worse. In Israel, they have more heart for the soldiers. Not enough. Far from being enough. But in America, it's even much worse. All the Vietnam veterans go to the village of Manhattan in San Francisco. See how many of them sitting in the street with wheelchair. They did not take showers for months. All these veterans, heroes of war. Nobody look at them. They don't care. This guy don't have legs. This one that. This one a few bullets in his body. Thousands of them are homeless. Many of them are heavy drugs because of the trauma. And many of them are homeless. How can it be that a country that sends thousands of soldiers to fight for us and risk their life, instead of giving our heart and life for them, to make it up to them that their life is destroyed, we throw them to the street to become homeless and heroin addicts? Something is not right here. This is happening because there is no Torah, no appreciation. People today are very ungrateful, very ungrateful. You can go to a person that bring you into his home, let you live there a year for free. You know, it does not take from your rent, let you use his car when you need it, give you everything you need because you know you have no place to live. And the one time you gave him something, you lend him something, let's say you have a car and you lend him your car and he bought you the car without full tank. You gave him the car with full tank, let's say $30, and he gave you the car with half a tank. So meaning he caused you a damage of $15. And you attack him. Shame on you, I'm giving you the car with full tank and you're giving me half a tank. What kind of a person you are? How do you dare to do such thing? What about the fact that you live by me for a year for free? It already cost $20,000. Food, electric, heat, rent. Somebody else would live here, it would be rent every month, no? They don't look at that because their nature of most people today in the world is they are fully ungrateful. And there's nothing that Hashem hates more than ungrateful people. Proud and ungrateful. And that's what almost everyone is in the world today. Full of ego, who creates a lot of hatred and create racism. Ego creates racism. Why a white person would think is better than a black besides ego? Give me one reason. Why? He thinks I'm here and he's here. Or the other way around. Or the black would think is better than a white. Or any race. Or rich, poor. Or Jews, non-Jews. All these things that you see in the world. Everybody thinks he's on the top of the world. If people would really know their real value, they would know there's nothing to brag about. No matter who you are. I said once in a lecture, if you remember, what is the difference between a great person to a loser person?
The great person thinks he's nothing, and the loser thinks he's everything.
Not only the great person thinks is nothing and the loser thinks is something, the great person will always be in his life busy hiding his greatness and his achievements. He will donate quietly. He will sponsor quietly. He will help people, and when people give him credit, he will be embarrassed. Oh no, you exaggerate. I did nothing. It wasn't me. That's a great person. He will never jump and say, hey, how come you didn't give me credit? Hey, how come you didn't put my name on the wall? You put his name, why my name is not here? You see all the names over there? Why I'm not there? That's the way of the losers, not of the great people. A great person, they have a joke. So one person came to Rav Ovadia. He said to him, Rabbi, they said that you know the whole Torah by heart. So Rav Ovadia said to him, don't exaggerate. I only know half of the Torah by heart. So the guy said to him, which half? He said, whichever one you choose. But that's only the joke. In reality, if you come to Rav Ovadia and you tell him, oh, I heard you know every page, everything, you have great memory, you remember all the books, he would say, I'm nothing compared to this and I'm nothing compared to that. Who am I? You know, would minimize his greatness to almost nothing. And when you have someone who barely learned 20 hours of his life Torah or Gemara and doesn't even know how to read Hebrew, the 2-3 things that he knows, he will flash with them everywhere he goes. It's called Istera Belagina Kishkishkaria. You put a coin inside the box. It makes a lot of noise. Look, everybody here hears it, right? What happened if the box would be full with hundreds of coins to the top? And you go like this, you wouldn't hear anything. Why you wouldn't hear anything? Because it's loaded, it's full. The more full you are, the more quiet you are, if you act correctly. The more empty you are, the more noise you make if you act incorrectly. That's the difference between a winner and a loser, a righteous and a wicked, a chacham and am haaretz. It's all opposites of each other. The chacham knows is nothing. The am haaretz thing is something. That's why we had people that say, so what? If Rav Chaim Kanievsky say, so what? Do I have to listen? Right now you see the root of the problem. One, am haaretz totally. Putting himself in the same league with someone who learned 90 years non-stop Torah from morning to night. There's not one page he doesn't know by heart in thousands of books. So he thinks he's in the same level, in the same holiness, in the same siyata dishmaya by Hashem. There is a serious problem over here. Let's move on. The upcoming parasha will be Parashat Tazria. We have Tazria and Metzorah. Tazria and Metzorah speaks about the sin of Lashon Hara. Lashon Hara. There is a question. Shabbat. The word Shabbat. It's written in the Torah, Im tashiv mishabat raglecha, asot chafatzecha beyom kodshi, vekarata לשבת עונג, לקדוש השם מכובד וכיבדתו, וכיבדתו. It should have been וכיבדתה. Shabbat is male or female? Let me explain for those of you who do not understand what I'm talking about. In English, you don't have male and female. When you say you can be a man, you can be a woman, right? If you hear a conversation, if you read in a letter a conversation, are you coming? That could be speaking to a man, that could be speaking to a woman. In Hebrew, there's no such thing. If you speak to a man, you say ata. If you speak to a woman, you say at. Just like Spanish. In Spanish, you also have male and female. But English, male and female, there's no distinguishing between them. But in Hebrew, Lashon HaKodesh, the language of God, there is on words, for instance, shirt, chulza, it's female. Female. Naal. Female. How do you know? What do you say? Naal yafe or naal yafa? If it's male, you say yafe. If it's female, you say yafa. Ish yafe. Isha yafa. Shulchan yafe. Shulchan is male. Kiseh also male. Yafe. Sefer male. Sefer yafe. Right? Menorah, light bulb. Yafa, female. Some words are male, some words are female. Shabbat is male or female? What do you say, Shabbat Yafeh or Shabbat Yafa? Shabbat Melech or Shabbat Malka? Shabbat Malka. So everybody agree that Shabbat should be female? In a proper language, yes. So please explain to me this verse. וקראת לשבת עונג, לקדוש השם מכובד, וכיבדתו. כיבדתו, you have to respect Shabbat, אבל it should have said כיבדת, כיבדת אותה. not כיבדת אותו. אותו is for male. לשון זכר. And also it's written, זכור את יום השבת לקדשו. It should have been לקדשה. זכור את יום השבת לקדשו, it's male. לקדשה should be female. Shabbat is לקדשה, not... when you מקדש a woman in a wedding, מקדש אותה, מקדשה. There's no such thing, a woman מקדשת את המן, מקדשו. Right? So the question is, sometimes the verse is talking about Shabbat like male, sometimes it's talking about Shabbat like female. The question is, who cares? Why the Torah separates between some words that are male, some words that are female? What's the secret behind it?
Certain things are meant more for the man.
Light bulbs is meant for men or for women? I answer? I answer you? Okay. So now the answer is like this. In life, the world is divided to two categories. Giver and receiver. Giver and receiver. The male is a giver. The woman is a receiver. Male, female. Male is the giver and female is the receiver. We will understand what I'm talking about. Mashpia and mushpa. Influence and get influence. You influence on someone, you are the giver. He is a receiver. He gets the influence that you put on him and he becomes different. So, let's see. It's written, Shabbat, usually it's always female. Why? Shabbat is a receiver or is a giver? Shabbat is a receiver. Where does the Shabbat receive from? From the days of the week. It's all preparation for the Shabbat. What you do on Thursday, shopping for Shabbat. Friday, shopping and cleaning for Shabbat and cooking. Everything all week you prepare for the Shabbat. So the Shabbat is the receiver, and everybody serves the Shabbat. The Torah says, מי שטרח בערב Shabbat, someone who worked before Shabbat, Shabbos Eve, יאכל בשבת, will eat on Shabbat, meaning if you prepared before Shabbat, you will have what to eat on Shabbat. So the preparation for Shabbat is the rest of the week. So Shabbat is the receiver. Also, on Shabbat, you don't work. You don't open your business. You don't have income. Where is the money come to buy what you need on Shabbat? You can spend hundreds of dollars on one Shabbat with your family. Food, clothing, whatever you need to buy. Everything for Shabbat. The rest of the week you work, like the Torah says, ששת ימים תעשה מלאכתך. 6 days you do all your work and your errands. And in the 7th day you rest. So all the money that we invest in Shabbat comes from which days? The weekdays. But the truth is that that's an optical mistake. Everything I told you now, flip it around. It's 180 degrees to the opposite direction. Shabbat is the giver. What does it mean? Everything that you have in your life, all the blessings that we get in our life come thanks to Shabbat. Shabbat is the one who gives us all the blessing. So, Let's see. Let's get an example. It says like this, לקראת שבת, לכו ונלכה. For Shabbat, all of us should walk towards Shabbat. כי היא מקור הברכה. Shabbat is the source of the blessing. Who wrote this? Did you ever hear the name Rav Shlomo Cubits? Rav Shlomo Cubits.